welcome here. Today, my guest is Scott Ballard. He is the CEO of Confidence Coach. Scott, please introduce yourself and share a little bit about what sparked your interest in this field.
Yeah, confidence coach really came to me as we were just talking before we started recording out of a really difficult situation as a young child, as a 7-year-old that really was struggling with depression and suicide and really struggling in learning how to learn. And out of that really, really challenging life experience came this identity of coaching and encouraging and believing in people and bringing the best out of people, which I started doing at a very young age after I had to get out of my own hole in that respect. So it shaped everything. And that's why we call ourselves Confidence Coach and why we're here today to make a difference in the world and to make it a better place.
Absolutely. And if I did my research correctly, there is a diagnosis there that makes you different from a lot of coaches out there. What is that? And why do you think that makes a difference for you?
Yeah, that's a great by the way, Deborah, that's a great question. So I've been diagnosed. I'm severely dyslexic, have 17 different versions or problems. Shows up in different ways. I happen to have a lot of them, pretty much all of them. And so
You're the
that's a
chosen one.
learning challenge. So reading and writing, very difficult, still today. It's really hard for me. I've done all the therapies, I've done all the different things. It's just not something that will ever be easy for me. But that's where my problem began. And that was in the 60s where they didn't know, Deborah, they didn't know anything about dyslexia. They didn't know about learning disability. They only knew to teach one way. And if you couldn't learn
Hmm.
that way, then you were kind of just left in the corner and they said, "You're dumb and stupid and you'll never do anything in your life." And that was what my first grade teacher said to me.
Wow, that was actually said to
Yeah.
you. Of course, that made you feel bad as a child because you don't know how to name your emotions at that point. But what made you get out of that? And you're like, no, I can do so much more. At what age did that shift happen for you? And going from what that teacher said was just their opinion, but it's not my truth.
Yeah. Well, first of all, and this is a lesson for everybody, all 8 billion people on the planet, you have to be very careful of believing the words of somebody that's telling you, labeling you, identifying you in a certain way. My problem was I believed my teacher when she said that, then it became my identity.
Absolutely.
And that led to becoming depressed, which led to becoming suicidal, which led to all kinds of other problems. And so, my first and most important advice to people is what is the truth about who you really are? Because if we know who we are in the truth of a sense, and it is the truth, it isn't a lie, like she told me, then we're able to find our way forward. But if
Hmm.
but if a lie has been installed in your identity, Deborah, then you're always going to have difficulties and challenges, and you're never going to reach your full potential. You're never going to get to where you want to go in your life, in your work, whatever that may be. And so I just was faced with it at a very young age.
Yes.
And I believed her. I was raised to respect, teachers and different things.
Right.
So I believed her, but that had to get changed, right? And so that's where I had some people that helped me re-understand who I am and that everybody has value, everybody has abilities, and everybody has a purpose or a vision or a mission for their life. And when I started getting that input from my tutor, when she started speaking that to me, I started replacing what my teacher would say with what she said, and I exchanged the lie for the truth of who I was. And by 6th grade, I was student of the year.
What?
Now, not by grades, but by vote of the teachers and the students, because I had learned from my own pain to see other people and speak truth into them because I know what it felt like to be told I was worthless.
Mhm.
I knew the pain of it, so if I saw you out on the schoolyard or whatever, and I saw anything in you of value, I would speak it out to you. I would go to the teachers and I would do the same with them and the principal because I knew how important that was for me, and I realized that that would probably be important for somebody else.
And it's also a good reminder for not only teachers, like it happened with you with an educator, but people of influence and authority in other people's lives. You could be a parent, and depending what you say to that child, you're going to mark them forever, and that will become exactly what you said, which is part of their identity. And it would be a lot harder for them to dig themselves out of it because it came from a parent, so it must be true, right? And it would be a coach, which is someone that you're entrusting with a lot of your personal things. It could be a pastor, it could be really anyone that you see as someone with authority and that you have a certain level of respect. You have to be very mindful of your words because that can impact a person both positively and really put them in a hole essentially.
Yeah. I couldn't
So
have said it better, Deborah. It's absolutely true, and that's a word for the whole world today. That's a word for 8 billion people. Story started with just me, but as I've grown and now I'm in my late 60s, I realized it's more important today. It's really more important today because we didn't have social media back then. We didn't have a lot of the feedback that is so destructive to our identities that's here now. So it's more important now as a parent, as a leader, as whatever role you have to be really careful. And are our words encouraging and building people up, or are they tearing them down?
absolutely. So how did your journey begin, Scott? Because I'm assuming that you did not start off by being a business owner. What did you do when you left school and what transitioned into actually starting your own business?
Yeah, yeah. I didn't leave school. I escaped. They finally said I was done. It never was easy. It was always difficult. I went 13 years to get 12 years done, and then I flunked out of 3 colleges because I just couldn't read and keep up. I just couldn't, do that part. But, it's very fortunate. I met this young lady, a month after I graduated from high school. I met this young lady, and we were at this graduation party, and we were sitting there, and I was pretty shy, and I said to her, I said, "So you're here too? It's a graduation party, and everybody's kind of going crazy." And she goes, "Yeah, I'm here with a friend, and I want to go home." And I said to her, I said, "Well, do you need a ride? I could give you a ride home because I know you're ready to go." So we leave. Well, little did I know that night I met my girlfriend of 48 years. So
Look at
so we
that.
we started dating the next day, and we've been together 48 years,
The next
and
day?
yeah, yeah, I took her to lunch the next day, and I thought, "Boy, this gal's pretty amazing." So we got married very young, which is unusual nowadays, but at 21, so we get married, and I had a best friend in school that his dad was an entrepreneur and very successful, and he would take us around to his different businesses. And one time we were flying, he had a plane. He was the only one in our whole area that had his own plane. They're flying around, and he turned over to me and he said, "Scott, have you ever thought about being a business owner?" And I kept thinking, well, you got to go to college and get an MBA, and I was like, well, no, Jim, I appreciate that, but I don't know how I would do that. And he goes, well, you just need to think about it. You've got a lot of the qualities for that. Once again, the word he was putting in my, he's planting a seed. So anyway, I get married and don't have any degree or anything, and I start a business and
Mhm.
it fails, and my wife says to me, she goes, "So what'd you learn and what are you gonna do next time?" And for the next 12 years, I do 10 of these that fail, and she says the same thing. She's unwavering, and I'm beginning to think I'm either crazy, I've gotta find a job that, it's gonna be stable and all this. And the 11th was a business that was really in the insurance industry,
Okay.
and I'd never been in it. You have to go to school and take a test, and I was like, I told her I can't do that, but I did, and I passed. So I get in this business. We have 3 small children. We have nothing, and we have $100 and we start at a kitchen table, and within 7 years, we were the 3rd largest seller of that product in the United States, and within 12 years, we were in 42 states. We had 4,000 people that worked for us, and I
Wow.
ran a company, and I couldn't read the contracts, really. It didn't really matter because I just knew how to hire smart people and then build them.
Right.
People build businesses, and so I just went about finding the best people and then coaching them. It wasn't coaching back then. There was no such a thing. It was leading. I was their leader, and then I empowered and believed in them and saw the greatness in them to do their jobs, and we built a really robust company for 21 years, and then the federal government got into the health insurance business, and it was gonna be obsolete, and so we sold it to a life insurance company, and
Mhm.
and then the question, Deborah, was, "Okay, what does a guy like me do after you've sold a company?" I'm not a retired person, I don't really care for golf. Everybody I saw that retired got sick and died. I'm not smart, but I was like I looked at the trend and I was like, "Okay, this is not."
I don't like
And
this trend.
I don't like it, and I was young, I was in my 40s, and I'm like, "I don't wanna," 50 years old, whatever I was. So anyway, I got a call. We were overseas, and I got a call from a buddy of mine in business, and he goes, "Is there any chance you can come to Dallas and just sit in my company? My leadership team is just messed up." I said, "Well, in between trips, yeah, I'll be glad to do that." So I go down, I spend a day or 2 with him. Driving back to the airport, I haven't said anything, and he goes, "Okay, I'm not letting you out of the car until you at least say something." And I go, "You're a good friend. I don't really wanna say anything." Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is gonna be awkward because you got some real problems.
Right, your team sucks, but how do I say that in a nice way?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly, that was it. So he's just like, "Please, like, this is really hard. Like, this is," and so I gave him 3 things. And he's sitting there and he doesn't really say anything. I'm like, "Oh gosh, I just lost a friend. Why did I do that? Like, I didn't need to say that." And he goes, "When can you come back?" And I said, "Well, David, I'm going overseas here next week." And I like, maybe, but why? And he goes, "I knew, just something told me I knew I should have called you a year ago or whatever. And I was just like, okay, well, we'll try to work it out. So I go back down. Anyway, we did that for a while. Like, you got to remember 21 years ago, coaching was not like this big,
It wasn't
huge
as
thing that it is
popular?
now.
Right.
No, no. And so that's how we got started doing this, backed into it. And we just did it for a while. And then I came home from a trip one time and my and my wife, the owner of our company, actually said to me, she goes, "This is called coaching." And I go, "Well, you can call it whatever you want, but we're helping this people." And she goes, "No, like this is a big I've done all this research." She gave me all this stuff and I was like, "Okay, that's great." So anyway, that's how we got started in it. We've coached, I don't know, thousands of people. We love what we do. We haven't worked a day in 21 years doing it. So I think there's just so much joy when you're in your identity, when you're doing what you were made to do. Here's the secret, Deborah, for me. If I was coaching you and you were winning, whatever that is in your life, I coach the whole person. That is the most exciting thing in the world when I see you winning. I just I think it stems back to being a 7-year-old kid and knowing what it feels like when you feel like nobody believes in you. Nobody thinks you can do anything. And so we live for that, for our people, for the people that we serve and support.
Good for them. Good for them to have you tell them that experience of, "I've taken a business, I failed."
10
It's really
times.
a handful. I've taken a business from 0 to doing extremely well and then selling it off, having to restart and essentially bring in your own business to that level because you also have to be very cautious about the people that you are going to be listening to in a certain aspect because someone could be great to give you marriage advice, but not necessarily business advice, right? This is my go to person for everything. I really don't agree with that because people have their calling, they have their own
They're
experiences, and
gifts.
what makes their gifts. That's it. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
So, how does a day look like for you?
There are never 2 days that are the same in 21 years. Never 2 are the same. I mean, I work with people that are brand new entrepreneurs,
Huh.
never been in business. Had a gentleman, Nick, he was in a touring band for 20 years, very successful songwriter in the band, and then he met the love of his life, this young woman, and the thing she said, "If I'm gonna marry you, I'm not living on a bus or touring with you. So you have to figure out a way to make a living." And so his father-in-law was a friend of mine, and he said, "As a gift, I'm sending you to Scott for you to figure out how to make a living." And now he owns a niche of an industry that he
Mhm.
created, and he's a highly successful entrepreneur, and I just love that. I mean, so I work with them, all different kinds of people, and NFL football players, CEOs, people that are doing something that is inspiring to me is one of my qualifiers. If I'm not inspired by what you're trying to do or on the way to doing, it doesn't interest me. It doesn't have to be a $1 trillion business. That's not what I'm talking about. But
Mhm.
something that is making the world a better place, or something that's bringing greater value, or something that's really going to make a difference for other people. I love those people, and I serve and support them. Yeah,
Good.
and
Good for
we
you.
ask challenging questions.
And it actually brought something to mind because I heard someone say that a lot of times you think about what kind of world am I leaving for my children? And in reality, the question should be what kind of children am I leaving for the world, right?
Or
So
grandchildren, in my case.
true, and grandchildren, but again, if you raise your children well and they become good people for the world, is the world a better place because of them at the end of the day? Can you look back and be proud of the human beings that you raised? Essentially, it comes down to that. I believe being a parent is your greatest calling. It's the hardest job you will have.
And it never ends, Deborah.
Exactly. Like my mom always says, you guys grow up and the worry only changes, but I'm always still worried. It's different levels of worried, but it doesn't mean I'm
Yeah.
not worried anymore. So, when it comes to the industry, right, Scott, what
Yeah.
shifts have you noticed in the coaching industry over the last few years, over what you saw 3 years ago when AI wasn't really a thing, it wasn't popular, and what
Mhm.
it's turning into now? You being from a different generation, and you're like, Deborah, I used to do it old school, and now we're having to adapt as a company. How is that looking for you?
Yeah, so let's go back maybe 5, 6, 7 years, right?
Mhm.
10 years ago, everything was formulaic, everything was like a formula that you took people through, or steps, or a process, and there was a lot of those, and I created over 100 of them. And what I have seen with the evolution of AI is people can do so much of that on their own. So what it's really spurred in me, which is one of my great strengths, is that I love a phenomenal question at the right time in the right place, where nobody else is willing to ask that person the right question.
Mhm.
I call them courage questions. I love those. So I'll give you an example. So this happened the other day with the CEO of a company having a lot of struggles and in his leadership. And I said to him, I said, "Brian, what are you most afraid of right now?" And he did what you're doing right now. He was like, "What? What are you how does that relate to me being a CEO?" Like, it
Right.
freaked him out because the fear was driving his behavior as a CEO. But here's what's interesting. The fear was not in his job as a CEO. The fear was actually in relation to what was happening at home with his family, but it was
Wow.
spilling over into the CEO. So you can't put a formula into high level coaching
Mhm.
because it's custom and bespoke to you, Deborah, to your situation, to what's on your mind, to where's the next breakthrough, what's that solution, what is that thing that will take you to where you wanna go, the next level or
Mhm.
whatever it may be. Another question that I ask a lot of people is, "What do you want?" So the first 10 or 20 things they tell me, Deborah, aren't really the real things they want,
Oh,
because it's hard
wow.
for them to tell the truth because
Yeah.
it's embarrassing to say what we really want.
Mhm.
But I can't help you if you don't tell me what you really want.
Mhm.
You can't help somebody when you don't know what they really, really want.
Yeah. And deep questions are sometimes uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah. And tears and emotion and even people getting angry at me are always a really good sign.
Wow.
So when they click off or they hang up or, they say the words that they say, I've never not had them a day or a week later go, I know you're right. I know that's the truth. And I just have had nobody in my life ever make me face that.
Yeah. Confrontation.
So, yeah. So I love these people, but loving somebody often is about challenging because
Yeah.
we all deceive ourselves all the time.
100%. 100%. And sometimes it comes down to what is reality and what is the reality that I'm trying to sell myself on, right? Am I making it better than it is in my head? Am I making it worse than it is in my head? Is my business having a bad month or are we really at the brink of going bankrupt? Right? What needs to change? Or essentially, it comes down to that. When it comes to business, being a CEO and being the person who has to lead, the person who has to make the tough decisions, the person who has to one point start duplicating themselves and trusting other people to make decisions that may cost them money, right? That they cannot say, if I had made that decision, it wouldn't have happened. But you have to entrust someone else because, or else you're going to be the bottleneck.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
So,
100%.
what kind of strategies are you seeing that successful coaches are using to stand out in a market that's increasingly crowded because coaching is such a popular word? What are you? I'm a coach. What do you do? I coach.
Mhm.
Coaching is just what you name yourself, right? How do you see a successful coach standing out in a market that's so crowded?
Yeah. Well, first I wanna say that I have no certifications, no training, no anything. The only thing I've done is coach 10,000 people,
Right.
and I have a a ton of really amazing success stories, but I
Which
have
is the
no.
beauty of this business, right? And what you get to do. It's because you get to stand out in a market that doesn't require you to do 12 years in school. You still get to bring value and help other people. So I'm all for it. But then there are some people who are just saying it to say it, right?
Yep. So the question was, what are we doing now? Well, I'll make it really simple because I'm a simplifier by nature, by gifting. So what we do is we solve people's big problems.
Mm-hmm.
So a business owner, an entrepreneur, or CEO has a problem, whatever that is, and help discover the truth about that problem, and then help them to think about it differently, and then help them find the solution that is the best for their company, themselves, for whoever's involved in it. And then we go about believing in them to execute that plan. I'm in the business of solving people's problems. Most people think they know what their problem is, Deborah, but that's not really the problem. 9 times out of 10, what they first tell me, it's not what really is going on. Okay. So most of the problems are right here. They're between here and here. They're 9 inches. So they either have a problem with their thinking or they have a problem with their believing. Sometimes we have to fix both. Sometimes we only have to fix one. And sometimes we have to tell people that you actually have both of them and you now have to operate in. So, but when you've done this enough times, you see all the signs of them going, okay, that's not really it. And so that's why we ask the question, what do you want? Because eventually, because of their want being so strong, they'll eventually let it out. I want this, but my problem is that.
Mhm.
And that's usually number 90 out of the top 100.
And is your want, because that's a different approach, right? Asking someone, what do you really want? Does that compare to what is a person's why? So many people talk about what is your why, right? Why are you trying to have your own business? Why are you trying to make this work? Why are you trying to make more money? Everything ties back to a person's why. Do you also do that, but you ask it to what do you
No, no,
want, or
no.
what do you think
No,
about
what
that?
what comes first is what you want, and then why do you want it? That's what people have missed all this time. I'm like, all these people are great, but they're not really getting to the crux of the matter. You can only make progress in your life if you tell the truth about what you want.
Yeah.
Period. You can quote me on that. I've told that to a million people. It is truth. I didn't want to be a kid that was known as stupid, dumb, and was never going to be anything in my life. I rejected that lie. What I wanted is I wanted to change the world by believing in people, encouraging them, and challenging them to be who they really meant to be.
Yeah. And how do you help your clients build that confidence?
This is going to be simply, you're going to be shocked how simple it is. I believe in them until they can hold the belief for themselves. So when you work with me, you'll hear me say 1,000 times till you can't hardly stand it until it sinks in. I believe in you. You could have just lost a $10 million deal, and I will be on the phone with you going, I believe in you. What did we learn? What are we going to do next time? Let's go. There's no losing. The only way you lose is by quitting.
Mhm.
I got back up when I flunked 500 tests in a row in school. It didn't, right? My goal was to get out of school, not, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's literally the mindset of a successful entrepreneur, leader, mom, parent, anybody. You got to get back up. But it's really hard if you don't have somebody that comes alongside you and says, I believe in you. And here's what I see, Deborah, here's what I see in you. And I speak the truth of who they are. And that touches their heart, which then goes back up their mind going, you are that. And then you become invincible.
And that ties back to something that we spoke in the beginning, which is that person for you was your wife today because you
Yeah.
did fail at your businesses. You did fail as
Yeah.
an entrepreneur just a little bit of times. How many again?
10 in a row.
I love it. So you failed, and then the same question your wife would ask you was,
What did you learn and what are we going to do next time?
yeah,
I learned more failing than you're ever going to learn getting an MBA or whatever, because that is not the real world. I accelerated everything by failing fast in the real world.
yeah, failing forward, as they call it. So, and how do you structure your coaching program, Scott? How, when someone comes to you, and of course, one of the things that you mentioned is you have to be interested in their story, right? And what are they trying to do to make this a better world for themselves? And that's what makes you interested in work with someone. But how do you normally structure your coaching programs for the people that do come to you?
Yeah. It's always bespoke. And what I mean by that, that's an old word, but it's custom because Deborah, you're different than Mary, than Catherine, than whomever. Like, I don't understand. Okay, so I'm gonna get on my coaching box here from I don't understand this cookie cutter thing, how that can work. I don't get it. Everybody's a unique individual. I have to coach you in the way that's the best for you. And that's
Mm-hmm.
not gonna be exactly like anybody. It can't be. If I'm really serving you at the highest level, it has to be unique to you, doesn't it? I mean,
I
I've
agree.
never had anybody argue me that I'm crazy with that, but nobody does. Everybody else, it's like, You do this, you do this, and I was like, "Well, what if they don't fit there? Or what if that's not where they're at? Maybe they're way back here and you have to start at -10 to get a you know what I mean? Like,
Right?
I've never met the person I've never coached 2 of the same people. Last week, I was at an event and I coached 37 people in 2 days. It was one of those, it was event and they would get time with me in between all
Oh,
the speakers, and every one of them was unique. And I was just inspired by the diversity of people I could serve and support and encourage, believe in, and give them some wisdom to push them forward. I live to coach, I live to encourage, I live to believe in people, I live to see people win. Who in your life is for you that much?
yeah. You're ride or die.
It's a sad commentary, but I'm hoping to change that in the world.
Yeah. If you are a coach today and you're trying to make it a cookie cutter process that you're just going to copy and paste, no.
I don't like
This is what's setting the successful coaches from the ones who are just trying to make it by creating a standard process. And it goes back to what you said, people will not fit in that box. Sometimes they'll start at 0, sometimes they're at 10 or -10.
and there's no standard person. Somebody telling me that I would never do anything in my life. No, everybody has a reason and a purpose, and there's something meaningful in their life. I'm sorry, that's just reality. I've been to all over the world. I've been to 63 countries. It's true everywhere.
Mhm.
We have forgotten to value the person. I refuse to do that.
And how do you address it when someone they have the potential, which is what your friend's father saw in you, and they said, "Scott, what do you think about being an entrepreneur and a business owner?" Right? You have CEOs that you work with, and I'm guessing they are at all different levels, right? How do you address it when addiction is involved? To because of course a lot of them are doing drugs, a lot of them are doing prescribed
Pornography.
pills, all the crazy stuff out there. How do you address it when it becomes more of a mental thing that's not necessarily just like, oh, it's a work problem, it's a family problem. When they have that next level to it, how do you do it?
Well, first of all, they have to be truthful with me and whoever's in their life that's personally affected by that. So, all progress, once again, you're going to think I'm a broken record, but it's the truth about people. So, when we tell the truth, okay, what is, or when we expose what we're doing, what is the truth about it? And then what am I supposed to do? Right. And that, once again, is not a cookie cutter thing.
Right.
Right. And we've learned that with all these rehab programs and all these people. And I see these people and they've been to 5 different programs and they're still not. And I go, the reason you're not set free is because you haven't told the truth about it. Why are you doing this? Well, I'm doing this because I was abused when I was 13 years old by a neighbor.
The
I
deeper
could,
truth.
the real truth.
Mhm.
And we can't change without that.
It makes sense. It makes sense. And again, and these are people that I know as well that have everything to be successful and they have everything to have a normal life and it keeps on stopping them and it's what you said, you go to from rehab to rehab to rehab and you don't change and you quit before you're supposed to and then you're frustrated with yourself and nothing is happening.
It repeats itself. It's a
It
cycle. How do
mhm,
you break a cycle? Tell the truth and then get honest about what is going to get you out of that. Is there
absolutely.
something more important than that?
In
This
what
is
sense?
I'm well, is there a person or something more important than you doing those drugs?
Mhm. Mhm.
And then how do we build a life to where when you get in that situation, you turn to that instead of turning to the bad decision for the drugs or whatever you're doing?
Yeah. Linking it to something bad instead of pleasure, right? Because your brain is always trying to look for pleasure and avoid pain. So, you see, I'm not a coach, but I know.
Very good.
So,
Very
always,
good.
always, that's what I try to tell them, Scott. They don't listen to me,
Yeah. I've had that experience plenty of times.
right? But you're getting paid.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
When it comes to coaches, right? And when it comes to consultants and everything that is going on, what do you think they need to absolutely master everything that's going on and everything that's changing and the new tools that are becoming available? What are some of the things besides the fact that it cannot be a cookie cutter process? We learned that. What else do you think coaches that are coming up and people that are getting into this industry need to master to be incredible at what they do?
You need to be really good at doing things with people in person that build them. So retreats, activities, adventures, it's amazing. You get a leader out of their office or their company or their business, and you take them to the beach or you take them up to the mountains. And or here's a better one I did recently. I took this leader out and I took him to the cemetery. He's a young but very high executive, and he goes, "What are we doing here?" And I said, "Well, in order to make progress in life, we have to realize that death is certain. So what are you gonna do between now and death? Now, what is important to you?" And it changed his whole context. We have to physically get with people, we have to connect, we have to build situations where these people can be together and understand I'm not an alien. I'm not the only CEO or entrepreneur that feels like this or struggles with it. You gather these people and you facilitate the conversation, and then they realize just by realizing I'm not the only one that is like this or feels this way or has these things, or wakes up at 3:15 in the morning worried about is the VP going to show up tomorrow? When they realize they normalize that and then they find a group where they can talk about these things and be honest and tell the truth, bam. But that's a human thing. That's like nothing can replace that. I've tried all that. It doesn't work. We are
Mhm.
made, is my belief, in a way where we're better together.
Mhm.
The world's been sold this idea. We didn't have a TV until I was 7 years old. Okay. So I grew up in a rural setting. But what I'm saying is we need each other. And that's a huge part of the coaching answer is not some stranger way off in another world that's giving you some cryptic process to go through. No, it's community. It's laughing. It's crying. It's feeling each other's pain. It's encouraging each other. It's going, gosh, here's an idea. I did this and that helped. Like when I get these people together, it's magic, and they talk about it years later. They don't. They're like, when are we doing that again? And it's the oldest thing, but it's the newest thing. Because,
Absolutely.
for the first 2 or 3 or 4,000 years, however long we've been around, storytelling was the connecting thing around the fire. Like, we don't have any of that. And when you
Yeah.
put people back around the fire and you do that, people just light up. They go, "I don't know what this is, but this is amazing."
Yeah. Human connection.
And I take their phones away for, like, 3 days, and you should see the younger people, like your age, they first night, Deborah, I mean, the withdrawals are so severe. Oftentimes, we have to take them to the ocean and dunk them in the cold water to help them through, to shock them out of it.
No way.
So they're so addicted. They're so addicted to it. Yeah,
They don't know what to do with
yeah,
themselves without their
yeah,
phones.
yeah. And by Sunday night, when we give them back, they're like, "I don't need this. I wanna sit here and talk with these people. I wanna go walk on the beach. I wanna" you know? Wow. So
And
that's the secret. The secret is go back.
right.
Don't go
Wow.
forward, go back. People are desiring to be connected. 8,000,000,000, not I'm not talking about one-on-one coaching here, I'm talking about the world.
That is so interesting because nowadays all people talk about is how can you systemize your
Mhm.
processes? How can you streamline it with a computer in a way that's
That helped
easier
them.
for you, that's easier for your client, that they can just log in anytime and do something without having that one-to-one connection, which you're not even saying a virtual connection. You're saying in person, taking
Yeah.
that time to disconnect.
I'm going to hug you. I'm going to hug you. I'm gonna hold your hand. I'm going to hug you. I'm going to tell you the truth about my greatest pain of trying to kill myself when I was 7 years old.
Mhm.
I'm gonna experience real things with you. I'm not settling. There's no computer, there's no AI. I love all the technology. Don't get me wrong. I'm not against it. It never can replace me in the moment going, this is what Deborah needs.
Mhm.
No, you can't. You can't because it doesn't have the emotional and the spiritual intelligence to actually do that.
Yeah.
Right. And so why are we trying? Why are we so distracted by that? Because we don't really want to get in the nitty gritty of somebody's life and go, you know what? I believe in you, even though you did that stupid thing and you did this and that. I'm here. I am unwavering till I die. I am for you, and I believe you can be and do this. I'm not stopping. I have no intent of stopping.
Mhm.
Right? That's different. That's real. That's human. That's leadership. We've kind of used the same coaching because it's the lazy way to actually lead people. It's not
Mhm.
really leadership. For thousands of years, coaching was called leadership. But now we've given it this name and it's become, you can kind of halfway do it.
You can. And get away with it.
I don't get it. I'm not from that world.
Mhm.
And I know there's a lot of coaches that don't like me for it, but that's okay. I can't do anything about that. But I
Right.
have to be true to myself, and I have to know, and the evidence is proving to me more and more, people resonate with this, Deborah. People resonate, like, it's almost scary. I'm in. I was like, "Well, are you sure? Now you're gonna have to fly clear out here, and you're gonna have to be and you're not gonna have your phone." Now, I've said this 10 times. There's no internet. Yes, and when are we doing it again?
That is so interesting.
When
I love it.
everybody else walks out of Deborah's life. When everybody else walks out of your life, if I am your coach, I'm walking in when they walk.
Wow.
That's the litmus test. When my teacher said that and everybody walked out of my life, my mother and my grandmother walked in and they said, God has a future for you and a meaning and a purpose. And we will not relent until we get it figured out. My grandma was a 4'11" little Irish gal. She was serious as a heart attack. I don't
Wow.
forget that because that changed my life, anybody's life.
Absolutely. And that is a beautiful thing that you just said. When everyone walks out, I'll be walking in to be there for you. And that's a beautiful thing. Love it. Love it. Love it. When it comes to the coaching aspect of things, and I'm guessing that you have a lot of coaches that you speak with or that you see or maybe that you follow and you can see the trends of what's going on. What do you think is keeping so many people from being a seven-figure coach?
Think number 1, they don't have it. They're not. There's no unique offering. They're just doing what the herd is doing. So there's like sheep. So I picture of sheep walking over the cliff. And have you ever seen that?
Mhm.
That's to me, it's like lemmings or sheep. Like that's what's happened. And coaching isn't that. Coaching is bespoke to Deborah.
Mhm.
It's about Deborah's whole. I coach the whole person, their whole life. You can't just coach one part of somebody because it's all connected, Deborah.
Yeah.
If you're the greatest CEO in the world and you're having performance problems or you're not, whatever, it's probably because something's going on in a different part of your life.
Mhm.
But nobody wants to talk about that because they just want you to do these business steps. And I'm like,
I'm a business
no,
coach is what they say, right? I'm a business coach, so I only address business related matters.
it's a cop out. I don't know how you could do that.
Right.
Wow.
Same
Okay.
here. Yeah. So
But I think that is fairly common though, Deborah. We both have to
100%.
realize.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And they try to distinguish themselves as a expert in one specific area, so they don't
Mm.
have to explore the person as a whole. Like the person for who they are and all they are, it takes a lot more work for you to get deep and really find out what is the cause of the reason you're feeling this way. It's not because of the business. The business has been doing well for the last 10 years. What's happening now? And I think that's a much tougher conversation. That what you said is true. It's a cop out. Oh, I don't address that. Right?
Well, you're not really serving them,
Mhm. I agree with you.
you know? And I don't wanna be too harsh. I mean, for some people, that's the right answer. I mean, that's all that they want or all that they're willing to do. Okay, I'm fine with that. They're just not somebody I would work with.
Right. It's
That's
not
all.
your style, essentially. You really like to know people for who they are, and
Yeah.
and I'm here for you type of thing in all aspects of it. So when it comes to confidence coach, Scott,
Mhm.
what do you have in mind? What are the goals for you to scale your business even more? Because I'm assuming you work with a lot of CEOs, you work with a lot of executives, you work with a lot of different people. So how are you what's next? What's next for Q4 and Q1 of 2026?
Okay, you're gonna love this answer because
Here
I've
he
already
comes.
said
Here he
this.
comes.
Here it comes. Okay, you're gonna love this answer. I'm gonna coach my tail off so that my people win more. And the more they win, the more the business grows. It's not complicated. It's not complicated. It really isn't. When people win, they tell other people, "I'm winning."
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. 100%. That's what it comes down to, because something that we talked about earlier, you were at a conference and you were speaking with someone and that person said, "Based on my conversation with Scott and I'm a business owner, the solution is have more sales," right? And the
Yeah,
best way for you to have more sales is for you to deliver results that is going to lead to a referral. People talking about you in a positive way in the industry is always going to bring the best prospects. Of course, it's the most passive way of growing. It's the easiest way of growing, but it's not the fastest. The
yeah.
fastest way of growing is you have your name out there and you're reaching more people. That's what I believe. Like, you have your passive strategy, which is your referrals, that yes, you are going to grow, but not at rapid pace. You have your online presence, you have your advertisements, you have everything else. So what's in mind? Are you guys doing any of that today for Confidence Coach?
Any of which one?
Advertisements, being online, having your name out there, any type of marketing. Are you guys doing that? Or you rely
Yeah.
heavily on your organic market?
Well, 80 to 90% of our business over the last 21 years has all been referral.
Wow.
Now, we have somebody that is we're very active on LinkedIn
Mhm.
because that's where our people are by far the most.
Absolutely. Yes.
And I speak and coach at events across the country,
Mhm.
and that is our really kind of, I guess you could say in your terms, that's kind of our marketing funnel.
Yes.
So I'll go to an event and I will have coaching available for 2 or 3 days for anybody that's at that event,
Mhm.
and we'll do these sessions, and then if we find somebody inspiring and whatever, then we follow up, then we go from there. Or I speak and coach at an event. So I'll speak about overcoming the false identity that I was given as a 7-year-old and how that held me back until I figured out that my true identity is this, right? So I will do, so that's really probably what you're asking. So
Yeah.
that's the methods we use, and I love speaking, I've done a lot of it. I love coaching a lot of people in a very short period of time because there is a momentum to that, there is
Mhm.
getting in the groove of that, and when you've coached 15 people in a day, like, you're on it, like, your mind's there, your heart's there, like, they're getting really great benefit. So I guess that would be probably the answer that you're looking for. Very unique. So we have created a model where we speak and coach at other people's events
Okay.
as a service value added to their event.
It's like speed dating, but for coaching.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's a good analogy. Yeah. Now, it's not 5 minutes or whatever speed dating is, but it's an hour or 45 minutes. And
Okay.
then we'll go from 6 in the morning till 10 or 11 at night, and I'll see everybody that wants to be seen, and normally we're sold out before we get there. We're booked out. But it's
Wow.
really fun for us, and then inevitably in that, we find 2 or 3 people that are they think we're awesome, we think they're awesome, and we end up working together.
There we go. That's actually very good marketing because yes, more people will hear about you.
Experience it
Yeah.
live.
They may not do business with you right away, but they'll refer someone, they will talk about you, they'll start following you, and essentially that's how you get that traction going. That's actually really good. If you had a magic wand, Mr. Scott, what
Uh-huh.
would you change in the business or what you do when it comes to your processes, everything that you do? Someone is interested to work with you, all the way to you actually coaching them and them being independent and feeling that, yes, I'm confident that I'm that person, that Scott has said that he believes in me and that I will be able to push through and put this whole thing together. What would you change? Is there anything, any bottlenecks, anything at all that you would change in your business, or does it run pretty smoothly now?
This is probably gonna freak you out. The one thing I would change is I wish I knew what God knew about people.
Wow.
I wish I knew everything that God knew about a person. That would a million times exponentially increase our effectiveness as a coach. If I knew what God knew about them, wow. I mean, I think about that and I go, man, we could have people winning. I mean, it's mind blowing.
It would take a lot less work to get to the bottom of it and just be like, this is what it is. This is how we're going to
Yeah,
fix it. Let's get
yeah,
this thing
yeah.
going already. Let's not take
uh,
3 months to get to the real reason of what you
yeah,
want.
but some of that though is this too, Deborah. There's it's cathartic for people sometimes to have to
Mhm,
struggle and search and question and like some of that needs to happen, if that makes sense. Like real life change isn't instant gratification. It
mhm.
never has, it never is. So I say that, but I say that just from my own, if I could have greater insight, maybe I could deliver more value. I'm very attuned to that. Like, if I'm meeting with somebody, I'm like, okay, God, what do I need to know and what do I need to do? Like that's it's on my board here, like as a constant reminder. Because, to assume that I know everything or to assume that I understand what happened that morning for them, well, I don't ever want to do that because life can change very suddenly. Things can
Yes,
happen, and you have to be sensitive. You have to be aware of where they're at. And I think that's really helped me coach at a much deeper level. Sometimes I know, don't go there. Like I feel it. I'm like, don't ask that question. It's not the time.
yep,
I'll divert. I'll go somewhere else with it. I think that's the real secret sauce. I think that's my secret weapon
mhm,
compared to other coaches. I'm not afraid to go like that's very good for me. I feel really good about I feel peace about that.
good, yeah. You also have to have the wisdom to know when to open certain boxes for
Right.
people when they're not
Well,
ready to open that box, like, there's a trauma that they're not ready to talk about, so what else can we actually take care of in the meantime until you are
yeah,
confident
around
enough.
it, there's
Yeah,
oftentimes something around it that is not that, but will help when we
right.
can get to that.
Yeah, so you can have
Yeah.
insights for when that box is actually opened, you have the knowledge and the self-awareness of it's not going to kill me. It's just human instinct to leave it shut because I don't know what's going to come out of it and it's too scary, but right now I can peek in.
Yeah. 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 No, that's very good. That's very that I couldn't have said that better. That's really true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was great. I love it. I love it, Scott. It was incredible insight. Of course, you mentioned that a lot of interesting things, challenges in the industry today, how coaches are
Mm.
standing out and what's making them stuck. And of course, everyone is trying to grow, everyone is trying to get to the next level. Don't follow the herd. Don't be just another person doing the same thing. That will not make you stand out. Coaching is not a cookie cutter industry. It's not a one size fits all. What applies to one does not apply to the other. And as a coach and as someone who will have influence on that person's life, you need to be well rounded to know that yes, there's an executive, yes, there's a CEO, but there's a father, there's a husband, there is a man or a woman who is trying to do the best they can to juggle it all, right? And balance it all out. So that was amazing insights that you gave, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, this was great, Deborah. You're very good at this. It makes it very easy.
Thank you. Thank you. So tell us this, how can people find you online, Mr. Scott Ballard?
We're at confidencecoach.org, and then you
Mhm.
can find me on LinkedIn. There's a bunch of stuff. And then we have a YouTube channel.
Mhm.
I have a YouTube channel, Deborah. I have a YouTube channel. My
What
kids
is do
can't
you
believe
know
it.
your name on YouTube?
No, I have no
I knew
idea.
I would catch you.
I have no
I knew
idea.
it.
My grandkids know it and they watch them.
I knew it.
Yeah, that's
I
terrible.
love
I
it.
don't know.
When it comes to and you also have a book, right? The book that you wrote
Yeah.
about 10 years
Yes.
ago?
Yes. Yep. 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 It's a great
So,
book.
what's the name of the book again?
The biggest disability is a bad attitude. We wrestled with the title so long, we changed it like 10 times.
Did you really?
I wrote a book. I wrote a book.
Uh-huh. You
I
did.
wrote a book.
You
That's
should
it.
be very proud of that.
Yeah, I
Alright.
technically didn't write it. I recorded it. And then I actually recorded, I spoke the book and then
In your case, is because the dyslexia.
yeah. And it was surprisingly easy.
Yes.
And I was like, wow, not having to write it out or spell it out
Yeah.
yeah, so super
See,
cool.
you're an
I should write
author.
another book.
You
I
should.
should
I
write
was
another.
gonna ask, when is the next one coming out?
Yeah,
Now 10 years,
yeah,
you've gone through a lot since then. You've
yeah,
learned a lot more,
that's
you've
true.
coached
I
a
have
lot
some good
more.
stories.
Yeah, I know you do.
Yeah.
So, Scott, it
Wow.
was a true pleasure, and I really hope
Yes,
you put that next book together.
we'll do it. Deborah, thank you so much.
My
You're
pleasure.
very good at what you do. If there's anything we can do to help you, just let us know.
Scott, thank you so much for joining me for this powerful and deeply human conversation. What really stood out to me is how your story reminds us that our greatest challenge can become our greatest calling if you're willing to tell the truth, face it, and use it to help others. From overcoming dyslexia and being told you would never be anything to building a multi billion. Scott, thank you so much for joining me for this powerful and deeply human conversation. What really stood out to me is how your story reminds us that our greatest challenge can become our greatest calling as well, if you're willing to tell the truth. Scott, thank you so much for joining me for this powerful and deeply human conversation. What really stood out to me is how your story is a reminder that our greatest challenges can become our greatest calling if you're willing to tell the truth, face it, and use it to help others. Of course, you had your own dyslexia to overcome and a lot of diagnosis. Thank you, Scott, for joining me today. Thank you, Scott, for joining me for this powerful and deeply human conversation. What really stood out to me is how your story is a reminder that our greatest challenges can become our greatest calling. You went out and built a multi-million-dollar business, and now you're transforming thousands of lives as a coach. I love that you said, I believe in people until they can believe in themselves. That alone captures what true leadership and coaching are all about. For those listening, if you want to learn more about Scott's work, you can find him at confidencecoach.org or on LinkedIn. He also has a YouTube channel. And don't forget to check out his book, The Biggest Disability is a Bad Attitude, an incredible reflection of his mission and helping people rediscover their purpose and potential. If this episode resonated with you, make sure to subscribe to the Consulting Code, the Expert Series, wherever you listen to podcasts. Share this episode with someone who needs to hear that failure isn't final. I'm Debora De Sousa, and as always, thank you for being here. Until next time, keep leading with courage, believe in your vision, and remember, someone out there needs what only you can bring to the table.